Okay, my name is Denise Hudson Lawson. I will introduce myself a little bit later, but I believe you're all here to listen to me talk about technology trends that will influence your team in 2016. So, hands up here, how many of you are actual techies? Hello, not many of us here. How many of you are HRs? Oh, how many of you are L&Ds? How many of you really don't know who you are or what you're doing here? Right, we got a few of those. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so the company I work for is a company called Pluralsight, and we deal with professional technology training. So we don't do the normal soft skills, we don't do all of the business skills. What we do is we purely concentrate on the IT professionals. We deep dive and people love us. So I thought I'd just show you a little bit of where I started before I got to Pluralsight. That's me at 12 years old, being told that I would never make it in computers because I was a girl, and I wasn't very good at maths. So I went home, told my dad went and found a Commodore 64. So how many of you have, actually that shows my age, doesn't it? Commodore 64. So Dad bought me a Commodore, well, he didn't buy me a Commodore 64, it sort of arrived, and you know, less said about that is anything. So Commodore 64, wrote my very first program, bank reconciliation program, said, Dad, you can put all your bank details in here now. The fact that I put a little bit of an Easter egg in there, and when you hit a certain key combination, it went overdrawn, overdrawn, overdrawn. So us devs have a little bit of fun every so often. So going from being somebody who was told would never be in computers, would never be able to program, I've had a 30-year career working in technology and in the learning and development industry. And last year, actually no, it's not last year now, is it? It's 2014, I was offered a role with Pluralsight. I was actually a Pluralsight user, so when I was asked what I thought about them and whether they knew of anybody who'd want to take on a learning architect's role, I looked at the person and I said, well, what's wrong with me? I said, I use it, I understand it, I love it, give me a job. I had a job offer within 8 days, and this is where I am. So, Pluralsight's mission. We love our mission statements coming from an American company. And notice, I've spelled democratise right. So we democratise professional technology learning for the professionals. We're trying to change the way that people think about IT developers, IT professionals, and IT creatives. No longer are these people sat in little rooms, covered in the dark. Well, some of them still are, but most of them, they want to learn, they want to find out, and they actually want to get out and talk to the organisations. So at Pluralsight, we're obsessed with making sure that technology professionals get the same standard of training as everybody else within the organisation. So a little bit of where Pluralsight started from. In 2004, we were a classroom company. So we had classrooms dotted around the US, people coming in, spending 5 days doing their SQL Server courses, 5 days doing their Java training, and one day, suddenly the leadership team stood around and they said, US is a big place, we want to be global. How do we go global? We turn it online. So in 2008, we decided that we were going to turn everything on its head, we were going to stop classroom training, and we were going to move into the online world. As you can see, to us to have our world domination, we've acquired quite a few companies along the way. So the IT admin guys, the IT professionals will probably know Train Signal, the coders will know Code School, and the creators amongst you will know Digital Tutors. Smarterer is an assessment program that we've built into our tool, and I will come to that a little bit later. So, these are the wonderful companies that trust us with all their IT professionals to get them up to speed and up to skill. Yes, there's a lot of American logos there. I just haven't had time to put the UK logos on there. But for the moment, we've got Tesco's and we've got a few other organisations that we're going to be updating you for. One main thing that people always ask us is, how do you get your authors? How do you get your author professionals? We do not employ anybody to write our content. What we do is we trawl technical conferences like this all around the world, and we go and find the top speakers of that particular subject. We've got the Scott Allens, we've got the John Puppers, they're the guys who are the top Java experts. We've got Del Meredith, we've got Troy Hunt, they're the top security experts, and I will come to security when we start talking about trends. But these guys, they're asked by Sky News, the BBC, CNN, all the top people to come and talk and to give their expert opinion on some of the issues that have been facing IT companies as far as hacking is concerned. We pay our authors like a royalty system, so a bit like the music industry when it's streaming and they download every so many seconds. We pay our authors on our seconds, so our authors only write what people want to see because that's the only way they get paid. Okay, so the content that you see is the most relevant and the most up-to-date and the most deep content for your technical people within any organisation. These are the pillars that we work to. So software development, your Javas, your JavaScript, your ASP, C#, .NET, your IT ops, which is your VMware, your Cisco, your infrastructure, creative for like the gaming industry. The guy that was talking before was talking about creating games and making your learning more gamified. This is where you come to us to learn the technology to implement something like that. So we're talking about the Mayas, the illustrators, all of that sort of thing, the Unities. Business professional. Now, for those of you who listened to me right at the beginning, I said we don't do soft skills. Well, we do, but our soft skills are written by IT people for IT people. So when you're trying to get a developer to learn how to present their solution to the bosses, we have people that have been in that situation, and we will teach them how to do that within a business environment, but with a technical bent to it. Data, big data. Who's heard of big data? Yeah, that's going to be a big thing in 2016, and I'll show you why in a moment. And the two new pillars, architecture, so 3D design, all of that type of stuff, fits in the last two features there. So let's get on to what you're really here to think about, which is the technology trends, where we're coming from and where we're going to. We have an absolutely huge user base. So we survey our customers at least twice a year, asking them about the type of technology that they're learning and the type of technology that they want to learn. And that makes us a formative decision as to how we move our authors going forward. So we talk to our customers, we talk to our authors. The authors are very in with all of the technology companies, so Microsoft, VMware, all of those. So they already know the latest technology that is coming out, and then they write those courses for us so that we can give them out to you. So we have the courses even before a lot of the companies use. Microsoft and VMware actually use our technology to train their own people, so that's pretty cool. So we look at that, and this is what's coming out within those technology trends. So we're looking at augmented reality. So who's heard of the Microsoft HoloLens? Do we know when that's going to come out? Nobody knows when that's going to come out. It was supposed to come out in the early part of 2016, but I think we've probably got a couple more months to go. We've got the Sony VR unit, and we've also got Oculus Rift, which was released last year. At the moment, a lot of companies can't see where the technology is going to take them. So if you're thinking about your healthcare system, the fire services, all of those type of organisations that have immersive training at the moment, these are the industries that are looking at the augmented reality features and the development skills that are required behind that to design augmented reality deep dive systems so that people can go in. So when you're looking at fire training, you don't want to send a fireman into a burning building just to train them if they're brand new. So what developers are doing is they're taking the technology and creating an immersive experience within the augmented reality environment so that these firefighters can go in, learn all the basics, and then when they need to go and do the next stage, which is throw them in a building and set fire to it. So augmented reality has a big place, although probably a lot of you can't see where that's going to sit within your organisations at the moment. I would say talk to your tech teams, talk to your IT people, and ask them, where do you see this technology fitting in? So augmented reality is a really big hit for this year. Security. Security is a huge subject this year, and it's not only for the IT developers to look at the security, it's an organisation-wide thing. How many people write their passwords down on bits of paper? Okay, how many people put their passwords in their mobile phones that don't have passwords on them? Yeah. Okay, this is the guy to go and get his bank details from, okay? So it is a responsibility of everybody to do security. However, what we have seen with the developer side security, it is really important to train your developers up on server-side security. Especially, how many of you are developing apps or websites for your customers and third parties, designing training applications that are going to sit on mobiles? You need to have good security on there, otherwise anybody can pick up on that and use that as a tunnel through to your organisation. Client-side frameworks. Client-side frameworks is new. Okay, it's not a new technology, but the way that developers are designing for client-side frameworks is new. The amount of devices that are now hitting the market that are IoT or Internet of Things ready, the more devices people bring into your organisations to hit into your organisation to connect to your organisation's development, the more skills you're going to be required in the client-side framework element. So from my perspective, and from the industry in general, those are your three main areas that for 2016 that your business is going to look at. For the type of audience that we have here, I would say security and client-side frameworks. So you need to start looking at some of the skills that are required for that. So the type of skills that people are thinking about, whoops, go back. Oh, there we go. Right. Technology. I can write it, but use it. Sometimes it has the better of me. So AngularJS. AngularJS is big. It's always been big. It's going to get bigger. AngularJS 2 is coming out later this year. Get your team skilled up with that. ASP.NET, again, it's been around for years, but they keep releasing new versions. And every time they release a new version, there are new skills and what we unofficially call little hacks that you have to get used to doing. So those two areas your teams really need. C#. C#, big one. C# fundamentals, C# in the real world, C# next with project management, C# this, that, and the other. Everybody needs C# nowadays. So AngularJS, ASP.NET, C#, those are the trends that we are seeing from previous learners, and the new versions that are coming out with 2, 5, and 6 of those, then you really need to keep your skills up, okay? And of course, security, mobile development, and Internet of Things. So in every single one of my slides, I think you'll hear security is the big thing. Oh, one thing to mention, for those of you who are dealing with security and you've got your DevOps guys in the background, HTTP 2 is coming out later this year. That will require a mass amount of training for your DevOps people, because the hacks that they've had to do to get the security working for the current HTTPS, they need to unlearn that and relearn the new way to be able to be a HTTP 2 secure. So that's a big thing you need to be aware of. So going to the IT professional skills, network again. Everybody needs network. Again, with the infrastructure, Microsoft are changing all their exam structures again this year. So if you're on a Microsoft network, you need to understand the latest network things. Everything's going into the cloud, so you've got Cisco, you've got virtualization, all that type of networking. You need to re-educate your staff. More companies are moving their information into the cloud, so that means you need to start getting your people up to date with the latest cloud technologies. Security, I told you security would be on virtually every single slide. General security for your DevOps people, they really need to understand it. That's securing your networks, securing your firewalls, securing all of your domain names, all of that stuff really needs to be done. Don't rely on external consultants, because external consultants obviously charge a lot of money, but at the same time, your internal people have a vested interest in keeping your organisation safe. So train your internal people up, your organisation will be safer. Information security, well, Madison Ashley, there was in the news recently, HSBC, BT, TalkTalk, we've had some very recent hacks on that. Information security is going to become king. You need to be able to protect your data, your company's data, and also your customers' data. So there's actually going to be more legislation coming in on that very soon. But you need to get your IT people to be aware that that information has to stay within the company domain. So what do they actually want? So on our survey, this is what our people are telling us, and this is what we're seeing on a day-to-day basis when we do our analytics. VMware, big. VMware released their vSphere 6 last year. We were the first company to have the entire education certification suite ready. VMware actually use our stuff, our education, to give to their certified professionals as well. Cisco, again, we were one of the first people to get all of our Cisco training up there. IT professionals need Cisco with the Internet of Things, with all of the virtualization. That is a big, big push for people this year. Take it out of the organisation, put it in the cloud. PowerShell, seen a bit of a resurgence with PowerShell. PowerShell has been around for years. Microsoft have just released their latest version of PowerShell. Invest in your PowerShell DevOps guys, because they will make your life so much simpler. They can do some fantastic scripting to get, especially if you're looking on the LMS system and you're connecting your LMS to all of your other organisational elements. PowerShell will script that in the background so you don't have to have separate sign-on for so many other things. So, there we go, security, and more security. So if you haven't got it yet, security is where you need to be looking in 2016. So some important considerations. The critical business challenges for you guys is to look at reinforcing your IT infrastructure and reinforcing that education within it. Train people up from within. They have a more motivated and better interest in keeping the organisation alive. Try and influence some of the challenges that the board are throwing you. So when they turn around and say to you, oh, what sort of training we need, please remind them that your IT people need as much love and care as your normal business, I say normal business people, that sounds awful, doesn't it? As your business organisation. A lot of people think that 200 or 300 or 1,000 pounds will work for an IT person across the year. If you think about how quickly technology changes, those IT people are going to continually be knocking at your door asking for education. So you have to find a way to be able to bring that in one easy, learnable solution. Team composition. In the old days of IT, you had your Java specialist, you had your business object specialist, you had this specialist, and people didn't link together. In organisations now, I see a lot more organisations creating agile development teams. With agile development teams, up to 9 individuals, they'll have a developer, a business information specialist, a creative artist, a business requirements person. So all of those different skills need to be brought together and work within a team. So when we're talking about team composition, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at bringing the different trends together. So don't group all of your IT, your sort of devs in one pot and your business objects people in another pot. Bring them together because they need to learn off of each other to be able to work well within your internal and your external organisations. Gaps and growth. I said I would help you out with the gaps and growth. I haven't pitched much about Pluralsight yet. But Pluralsight are the #1 online learning organisation for IT organisations. We have what we call a learning check. And a learning check is for everything anybody wants to learn. They go in, they answer a few questions, and it will give you your skills gap. So for all you L&D people, and I know I've done it in the past, trying to work out what the skills gap and the skills analysis within your organisations, by the time you've gone round that whole loop, it's all out of date. What we do is we give you the ability to allow them to self-serve, so they can do their own skills gap analysis. It will create a transcript, and then they can go and learn where they've got those gaps. So you guys don't need to get involved in doing those paper studies. So really good. Build or buy. Interesting consideration. Do you build it from within or do you buy it from without? If you're considering cloud, you buy it from without. If you're considering on-premise, you build it from within. It's only you and your organisation that can make that difference. The only choice that you can have is if you have an educated team. Making development a priority. How many of you here have got a business strategy? Well, that's not many. How many of you got an L&D training strategy? How many of you have got the IT development strategy within that L&D strategy? One hand has gone up at the back. What I would ask you to do is go back, this is a call to arms, go back to your IT teams, talk to them about what they want and build it into your L&D strategy. Don't leave them out on the wing because I know from personal experience, we go off and do our own thing, so we don't follow the company path. So really look at making development and IT professionals a priority within your L&D. I'm going to say that anyway because I'm an IT person. So these are some of the up-and-coming technologies for 2016 and 2017. I mentioned Angular 2 earlier. That's a pretty good one. ASP.NET Core 1. That's going to be something that's brand new, so you're going to need to be looking at developing your development on that. Ruby on the Rails. A lot of people are using Ruby on the Rails and Ruby for Zombies. Most of you have probably never even heard of that. If you have heard of Rubies, it's the girls when the boy puts them on your finger. But I would suggest you go and have a look at that because there's a lot more development going on within the organisation. Android, another name, Marshmallow. How many more? We're going to run out of confectionery soon for the Android systems, aren't we? But again, it's got higher security, better security, so you need to really invest in that if you're looking at mobile development. iOS 10, that's going to be a good one. That's going to be a really, really big fix. It's going to fix a lot of the bugs that's currently in the iOS 9. But the iOS and the Android app, you really need to start looking. If you're developing learning solutions to push out to those phones, you've got to look at that as well. SQL Server costs shed loads of money to go to a classroom to learn SQL Server. Costs hardly anything with us. So what I'm going to do is at the end of this, I'm going to suggest you go and see my lovely colleagues on the stand behind, and they will talk to you about how you can implement our solution. So very, very quick, very, very short, sharp on the sort of technology trends that I've seen over the past 12 months and what you should be looking at in the future. So any questions before I wrap up? Have I stunned you all into silence? Will you take this away and talk to your IT teams? So can I suggest if anybody is interested in the tech trends, we have a white paper that we've written. You can grab this from Catherine, my colleague at the front, and my company, Pluralsight, is on the stand 03 right behind you. So thank you very much for putting up with my wittering. Thank you.